Welcome, dear audience, to This Week in Clown World, the video series dedicated to reliving the events of the simulation because yes, it really happened and no, we weren't dreaming. Well, I had to take a week off due to a lot of real-world shihide going on, and then another war kicks off in a foreign land. And now everyone's really angry at each other. Oh lordy, will there be any vegan furries to save us this time? But during that week, what I didn't have on my bingo bucket of diarrhea card was someone getting handed almost $1 million for using the N-word hard R style at a child. My god, what the hell have we become? It's the equivalent of people fundraising for a murderer based purely on racial grounds. No one in their right minds would ever do that. It is totally morally wrong. Oh wait, yes they did do that actually, and they raised almost $500,000. What? Yeah, we'll get to that. But for now, let's all remember how the Soviet Kingdom voted in the Labour Party by accident last year, and it has all been downhill since then. Which is very surprising, because we thought we couldn't get any lower with the Conservatory Party in charge. But hey, I love me non-crime hate incidents, and I love the boat people no matter how many women get raped through it. But when our descendants, also known as the Canadians and the upside-down Australians, had their chance to stop embarrassing themselves with feminine hygiene product prime ministers, they also voted even more for it. Yeah, that's incredible. We all get to be poorer together, just like the Empire wanted. Yes, in Canada, after living under their very own handbag for 10 years, they decided that they'll carry on the party with a period cramping Carney, the ex-governor of the Bank of England, who wasn't very good at his job. Although as far as I'm aware, at no point has he ever said people kind and hasn't blackfaced on multiple occasions while lecturing the population. Guess we'll see how that goes for them anyway. But it was also the Australians' federal election time too, and they voted for even more of the same as well. You know, their very own Labour Party. Don't really know too much about those guys, but I'm pretty sure they are the party who put forward a referendum on Aboriginal people having an advisory committee or something in government where if someone wanted to build a bridge over some water and the Aboriginal Advisory Board said that 500 years ago someone believed that there was a fairy who lived in it, or some shite like that, then the land would be protected by law and no bridge would ever be built on it. Ever. Pretty sure that was the case, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But anyway, they voted him in again too. But I don't blame any of these people, because let's face it, it's not the ruling party that is any good in any of these countries, it's because the opposition party isn't even worse than a bunch of pussies. But within the motherland of the Soviet Kingdom, things are starting to change as the dumbasses who voted in our very own Labour Party realise that running a country based on student politics and commie ideology is a pretty bad idea. So come the local elections where the peasants get to vote for who represents their council, boy didn't both the Labour Party and the Conservatories get a full nut bust of hate you goo all over their faces. Yes, in the election where half of them were cancelled by Labour because that's what commies do, everyone realised you might actually be able to vote your way out of it, so voted for the Reform Party. You know, the party led by Nigel Farage that one day wants to kick out all the illegally fully grown boat migrant children with beards, and then the next day don't want to deport anybody because the Guardian wrote a commie hit piece on them. But hey, it's a start and we will see how it goes from there. And the best thing about these local elections that happened in the Soviet Kingdom was the response by our very own Conservatory Party leader, Kemi Badenoch, a woman with all the charisma of a gooner with erectile dysfunction. Yeah, says Badenoch. We may have lost almost 700 councillors, but it wasn't that bad. We've just got to, you know, rebuild trust with the electorate because we're really serious now about doing all that stuff that we said we were going to do, but didn't when we were in government for 14 fucking years, and now we're totally gonna do our manifesto commitments. Trust me, bro, we're totally serious. Oh, poor Kemi Badenoch. Everyone hates the Tories, it's just embarrassing now, and allegedly, according to insiders, during the time of the local election results, she was doom scrolling on her phone. Yeah, it'll probably be good for them to stick to their best policy. You know, getting 0 seats in the next election. Alright, well that's the political shite out the way. What happened next? The demise of Western civilization, of course. A regression all the way back to when people legit believed hating each other because of skin colour was a totally cool idea. Because after a teenager was stabbed to death and people quite literally raised $500,000 for the murderer while commenting spouting horrendously racist shite about wanting white people dead because they were born with immutable characteristics, over in a park in America land, a birthing person with her child got to doing an internet. Yes, as they played happily on the swings, one child with melanin decided that he would make his father proud by going tea leafing. But upon being caught, oh boy, she let rip using the hard R-N word. And that's pretty bad. Never really been a big fan of using race as a method of insult. Unless it's against the French, because let's face it, they may look Caucasian, but no race on earth, be it white, black, Latino, or Chinese's, acts like the French. But I'm getting sidetracked there. Well, the internet exists, so obviously the event was recorded and posted online. But here you may be thinking, alright, so that was the father, right? You know, Daddy Tea Leaf was recording the whole thing. Well, you would be wrong. Dead wrong with AIDS, because Daddy hasn't got back from picking up those cigarettes yet, and the guy recording the event in a child's playground is none other than a potential fucking nonce. What in the name of yeehaw fuckery is going on here? Yes, the man taking the video just had charges dropped for allegedly graping a minor, and the reason they were dropped was because it was in the interest of justice. Well, so that must mean he's innocent, right? You know, totally not going to jail, charges dropped. Not so fast, audience. Dismissing a case in the interest of justice doesn't actually mean he's innocent or even guilty at that matter. They just ain't gonna do the court case, so we'll never find out the truth. Well, that's really cool. I just hope the accuser, if she is telling the truth, is feeling pretty freaking stoked right now. Anyway, so potential nonce. What happened next? Well, because she was doxxed and all that, and that kind of makes living hard when employees can simply Google your name these days, she can't get herself a give, send, go and is now hitting fat stacks. And the only reason it's kicking off is because the weird communist freaks push race relations across the West to a fucking breaking point where stabbing a white kid means you also get lots of money purely because you are black. Yes, it's the natural checks and balances in motion. When things get a little bit too extreme one way, expect the other side to rise as well. And here, mainstream hatred towards white people with constant verbal beatings and the he didn't do nothing mentality got to a point where merely dropping a hard R-N word can now make you a potential millionaire. Amazing. Well, none of this is right. Both sides is fucked. Everything about this story is wrong. But on the other hand, it is about time we started fighting back against the culture that saw Give, Send, Go have to delete Commander Anthony's comments because there was a whole lot of racist comments on there calling for violence against white people. I guess that cartoonist guy was right. Just get the hell away. There is no fixing this. Alright, potential race war imminent. I just hope we all still have rooftop Koreans because those guys were totally cool. What's next then? My god, it's the fucking aliens, isn't it? Yeah, someone released a 1,000-foot UFO picture because it looks totally legit, and Eric Davis tells Congress that we definitely have the aliens knocking about and there are 4 different kinds. The Greys, the Nordics, the reptilian insects, and that other type, you know, who really cares? All these people have lead poisoning. They come out with all this alien shite, but none of them have presented any extraterrestrials that can physically have their ass cheeks clapped. And I want so badly to clap some alien cheeks. But these goons keep coming out with all this alien shite, leaving us with intergalactic blue balls. And it's always the same. I saw these aliens once and they were really, really big, but I don't have any evidence or even any sticky green alien goo, but trust me, I am telling the truth. Please go buy my book. Yeah, this testimony is about as reliable as a chocolate dildo left in a hot car. Alrighty then, guess that concludes last week. What happened in this one? Oh boy, quite a bit actually. Well, let's get the most obvious out the way first. Boys, we have got ourselves a new pope. The tomato sauce of popery. Yes, Pope Leo, the man who's gonna pope so hard that there will never be a pope like him again. Yeah, no idea who he is, but good luck, bro. Just don't turn a blind eye to the noncery like the last pope did. But away from the Vatican, audience, what happens when you cross an announcement of a new pope with a really, really bad road rage incident? Well, you literally get someone shitting on a car because they were so angry they actually dropped trowel, spread those ass cheeks wide, and squirted out a moosey digestive surprise. My god, we're undergoing devolution. And I still can't decide what is the most clown part of this story. The fact she shat on a car because she was angry, or the fact she's also an OnlyFans prostitute. Both of them are scraping the bottom of the barrel of shite. But hey, guess the weak effeminate men will be buying pictures of her butthole now. Great publicity stunt. Still can't believe men actually pay for women pictures and videos on the internet when it's completely free on the hub, or you can do things like actually speak to a woman who ain't your mum and have sex with her. Well, that was fun. Anything else interesting then? Yeah, it was VE Day, the day to mark the downfall of the 1940s Germany man. Rejoice! We beat the meanie and somehow we took our victory and became societal degenerates. But some people out there are keen to keep the cause alive in hopes that one day Hitler's ghost will rise once more and everybody gets a free mustache. And one of those groups of people were so enthralled by the idea, they decided, you know what, we're going to celebrate the 1940s Germany man by hosting his birthday party in a pub with a swastika-themed cake in Greater Manchester, England. What the fuck? Bit weird, mate, but of course, they like the Germany man and they live in England, so what do you think happened next? They got arrested for hate crimes! Even though the UK is not actually illegal, they had the 1940s Germany flags and shit. Shablagoo. Alright, so we've got shitting on cars, Hitler's birthday party, what else? Probably the best demonstration of get woke, go broke, arguably on par with Bud Light, the fail of a century. Because Jaguar, the company that made all those really iconic British cars until they were taken over by an Indian, have finally realised absolutely no one but the creeps like all this woke shite, and they found it out the hard way in a capitalist society. You can't pander to a minority and expect the majority to buy your shit. Because after their rebrand to androgynous retard, where they even removed their iconic logo known across the planet for decades, turns out they aren't selling shit and everybody hates them. So now they're looking for a new advertising agency to pay millions upon millions of pounds to that will no doubt do the exact same thing because advertising agencies are a bunch of shehite. Here's an idea for an advert, Jaguar. Get a road, put a car on it, drive the fucking thing, clip it down in Premiere Pro, put some fancy music on it, and my god, you've got an advert. Alright, next please. Let me check my notes. Romania! They exercise democracy after saving democracy by banning the frontrunner of a democratic election. Yay, nature is healed. And if you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, let me fill your holes in. Earlier this year, Romania were meant to have their presidential elections, but for reasons unknown to the effeminate men, the people voted for the totally evil far-right bigot man whose policies they disagree with. So straight up just banned him from running in the election, citing that the totally evil far-right Russian man as the reason why. They must have some damning evidence why they had to cancel that election, right? Of course they do, because some accounts promoting his campaign on TikTok were Russian in origin, and then they banned the guy running for, oh, you know what, I don't give a shit, no one cares about Romania. And talking about things no one gives a fuck about, it looks like India and Pakistan are going to war, boys, because something happened, and then another thing happened, and now two nuclear-armed countries are having a bit of a hissy fit. Yeah, I think I'm right in saying, out of all the wars currently going on, absolutely no one but the Pakistanis and Indians are going to go into London to protest it. Yes, two countries with a reputation for gang-raping women and children. Don't care, all those explosions might actually finally clean the shite off the streets. Although saying that, I do love a good curry, so fuck it, go India. Right, war is now out the way. Let's go check in with Antarctica, the final frontier with all the pyramids, and it's very, very cold indeed. But is there anything else going on down there? Yeah, actually, a whole lot of ice growth, because for the past 4 years or so, ice has been growing back bigly time, which is undoing all that ice loss previously. Which begs the question, is it that totally scary climate change, or is it literally because glaciers do one of two things that's causing this? They either grow, or they shrink, because they don't remain in homeostasis. Warm face, cold face, wet face, dry face, no one's going to die. But please, keep being lectured to by millionaires with vested interest and private jets. The world is going to implode with like tornadoes and sunny days and all that. Meanwhile, in Colombia, holy shit boys, they found the fucking aliens. Get your pants down, because there's going to be a lot of green cheeks ready for a good clapping, because remember all those orbs flying about? You know, the ones with like really weird stuff happening? Well, we got one, and it was found in Colombia instead of the United States, so you know that the chances are it's definitely definitely the aliens this time. Well, never thought I would see the day where we would find a metal football and it was all the aliens. Although I am going to put my skeptical hat on here and say bullshit. I mean, I have no evidence to tell either way, but every time we get our hopes up, it turns out to be a complete fraud. And as for those inscriptions on the metal football, well, a bunch of people used AI to decipher it, and my god, it's some hippie shite about the Mother Earth and collective consciousness. Yeah, I don't think the aliens really care about that. I am smelling a hoax paid for by the History Channel. And finally, we can't close a week off without taking a moment to remember all those Bonqueefs of the world who don't need no man. Because for reasons that I can only describe as retarded, an artist, and I think we're using that term extremely lightly these days, has decided to erect a massive sculpture of an overweight middle-aged black woman, namely this one in Times Square. And even though it's shit and no one asked for it, apparently taking the piss out of shite statues that look like they've been installed as a joke is now a disgusting trait of those totally evil far-right bigots. Yay, another week where we have to go with the chode of racial politics when there are far more pressing issues in the world. We could all be living on moon bases by now, but instead we're using the collective might of the human brain to engineer a future where we all talk about race all the fucking time. Yeah, giving erections to statues of fat black women because it will confront preconceived notions of identity and representation is surely gonna build us a fucking rocket ship. Get the fuck out of here. Big shout out to my boys and guys. My mummy told me not to kiss the bigots, but she didn't realise I don't listen to women, so pucker up boys, we're going to Paris. Love you all very much, Lee.
Subscribe button.
Is always right.